Hello, this is again a tough video, tell a friend video. It's on biased communication and the goal of such a communication. And it grew in the Corona media communication. So I saw, if you look at interviews, if you look at videos on text, you read a text. So all these things, they try to have a specific goal. And now, why? Because it is a biased communication, so like that in red, that's not good. Why is it not good? Because it is not, the goal is not to create wisdom. But it's make my opinion win, and no matter the facts, yeah. And this is why we live in a post-fact century, And the normal goal and also the goal of my communication has, I think, sometimes I might have used, my emotions and to also kind of have a biased communication. And it's very difficult to kind of not be sometimes somewhat biased. That is just human. That is why we need discussion. So Machiavelli's law, love or crush, says don't discuss. So that's it's a good way not to discuss if you want to get your biased communication through. So it is not to create wisdom, yeah, or scientific results or something by results. Yeah, it's just about opinion and not scientific stuff or wisdom. And now the things there are, when you look, for example, here in the communication, sometimes you have the slightly use of wrong words, slightly wrong words. So slightly wrong words. Just watch out where in the Corona thing, it is this, like there are these people that think that Corona is not dangerous. I think there is hardly anybody that says that, but when you use it in a text, they would say the Corona non-believers or something like that. This is not true. So I think everybody knows that Corona is, something like an influenza virus, a little bit different characteristics, but you put the words a little bit different and then you already shift the person in, he's stupid. So that's the first thing, to put a little bit of fog, a fog into this conversation. And then when you are giving an interview, in interviews, what happens a lot is this, maybe you get nervous, and you use a wrong word, or wrong spelling, yeah? Like me in my tough videos, wrong spelling. Then there are a lot of people that say, a person that can't spell, oh, no, we can't trust him. He's definitely an idiot, yeah? And then you, instead of then going on, his arguments, you say, he can't spell, that means his arguments are wrong. This is done a lot of time, and then there is something, so this here, this is difficult to fight, but the thing that is even more difficult to fight in an interview is if you get a question where the claim in the question is wrong. So you get a question like, I use a very harsh example now, we all know that you are an idiot. Now, when did you actually notice that you are an idiot? So if somebody asks you this question, how can you get out of this? You are being attacked, so you might have to say, could you rephrase so I think that is a good thing. Could you please rephrase your question because, well, you could say because I didn't understand it acoustically. So, but maybe he insists and then again says, because often the people then, think about it again because they heard themselves say it and then maybe do it a little bit less. But usually they still would then repeat it. So we all know that you're an idiot. And then you have to say, look, the thing is, maybe I will not answer your question. Could you, if you can't pose the question, I will do that for you. So I think you want to ask me this. Yeah? Am I right? So you kind of make sure he cannot make this claim wrong claim in the question. And in the question. And I learned this very much from my favorite Jordan Peterson. Yeah, in an interview, there were students asking him, and there was a student asking, and he said, no, your question is wrong. And then the student kind of a little bit insisted, and then kind of said, okay, then anyway. And Peterson again said, not anyway. Your claim is wrong. And I think this is something we have to do. So this is, I think, one of the stand up for your thoughts, and I think that, so I learned it very, very well from Jordan Peterson. And I think we have to do that much more often. If somebody turns around the words in our mouth or uses the wrong claim in his question, we have to tell him, look, this is wrong. You say the wrong thing, even if it takes us minutes or even longer. And even if they then do not do the interview, fine. Rather not have, well, you have to kind of evaluate whether you want to have airtime or not, because then maybe somebody invents he didn't want to talk to me because he's a pussy or whatever, Now, what I see from this kind of non-fact-based society we live in, maybe the English series, UK series, which is called Father Ted. I like it a lot because that reminds me a little bit of the TED Talks or TEDx Talks. Father Ted, and there was this character which is called Dougal, Dougal, I think, write him. And he is one of the most funny people I've ever heard obviously this is completely funny and so on, but Dougal is actually the blueprint of most of people, how they discuss. Because Dougal, he is so naive, he doesn't understand anything, he then always laughs, always draws the wrong conclusion, and drives this Father Ted, who's the main priest. He's a young priest, and Father Ted is the main priest. Father Ted, he is very smart, very precise, and Dougal completely misunderstands him. And it's so funny because here you have kind of the wisdom thinker, and he's funny. And here you have the postmodern, post-factual guys, or our society. So he represents our society now. Where every person can have an opinion even on the most scientific things without knowing anything about facts. And now we were mentioning the facts. So that means if we now move to facts, then I have to say a lot of facts are really complicated. And if you look at the corona thing, corona with I don't know, PCR tests, the false positive and so on. It is the incubation period, the health risk and all that, and the age groups and the precondition of who I test and all that. I'll do another video on that. That is so complicated. And if something is complicated, then you know what we do and what we have to do. And here I use my beloved three brain model: intellect, limbic system, and reptile brain. And now the thing is, sorry, not for this, sorry. I want to use not for this, but here, just for this, for this here, I will come to that. So I use the one brain model. Well, you just have one brain, yeah, one, where you think. So you, the facts are too complicated for you, yeah? So you say complexity, yeah? The complexity is too high. That does not matter, I'm stupid or whatever. I do not rate this thing, for example, Corona, to be so important that I spend, let's say, on Corona, to really understand it and what is going on, you need in excess of 100, if not 1,000 hours. That is what you need to understand, fully understand Corona, to be able to kind of sense, to build the big picture of the whole system, the whole world, how it's interrelated. So I would say it's this complexity. And therefore, I do understand that somebody says, no, it's not worth it. And what does he do if he says the complexity is too high for what I get from it? Because I have my life, I only have 24 hours a day, and I don't want to spend all that, you know, I have kids, I have family, I have to feed them, I want to enjoy my life, and so on. So I do not want to make this investment. And the only possibility you have is you do something I call, and I just put it neutral, you do external thinking. Yeah, so it's external thinking. It just means, as I don't understand, I think somebody else understands it. And that's perfect. You know, that is really perfect. And now the thing is now, obviously, if you go in a discussion with somebody, you know, some other person, and you discuss things, you know, you have a discussion, which is very good. Yeah, so I like discussions. So you have a discussion, but then you don't agree. And the thing is, if you do external thinking, your sub-form is Google. Yeah, a lot of people say, oh, I just Google it. You know, this does work for facts, but not for systems. So external thinking, when you go in a discussion, is very difficult, because you in the discussion, it's not from here. You always have a pointer to, oh, what did I read? What did he say? What do I think he would say? I don't know. You know, so the discussion here is really bad. You know, it's at least not much based on wisdom. And for that reason, when you go into such a discussion, you know, that is why I favor these discussions between people, because then you are actually in a discussion. This fight, at least with me, triggers the investment I want to understand, and which means the external thinking goes into internal. Yeah, so then you have internal thinking, and this system is now in here, and in a discussion you can answer. You know, he tells you something, and then you don't have I call it a dogma-based discussion, where, you know, here's dogma 1, D1, and you have dogma 2, and, you know, just fight it and no change. If you have system thinking, you know, you have that system, you invested lots of time to build that system here, you understand it all, and then you can discuss, and you can discuss details, and each discussion adds new things, new associations to it, and so in a discussion that grows. Now, one last thing I wanted to say, and that is why I drew this three-brain model. So this is the three-brain. Now, the three-brain model I want to use for, now, in the reptile brain, do we use external thinking? I would say no. You know, here, it's kind of 0% ET. external thinking. 0%, I would say. Maybe you could argue you overcome maybe fear or something like that, but then that is kind of a program that you programmed yourself in, and you say, well, I don't trigger a specific mechanism anymore. So I would say it's almost zero when in your reptile brain. So you will not have. I will talk to I don't know, a politician, to Miss Merkel, whether I should get upset or not. So here you have no external thinking. With the visions that in the limbic system, it's I usually say this is where you want to go, where you want to be, where you want others to see you, and so on. And here I would say it's a 50-50. It's a 50% external and internal thinking, because it is, where do you get your vision from? So maybe from somebody telling you, somebody says, Eckhart Tolle, I like him, or somebody says, I like Jordan Peterson, and then, oh, if that is his vision, then that's also my vision. And so here I would say it's like 50-50. Whereas on the intellectual level, I think that we often tend to like 90% external thinking, because we can, and more, because we cannot know everything about everything, so we have to rely on others. And so that's fine, that's perfect. But what I wanted to state, because that's funny, here, the 3-brain model, the reptile brain, the emotions, the fear, and so on, that's zero external thinking. That's all in us. The limbic, our visions, that's kind of influenced by others. So we kind of, we sense, maybe using our mirror cells, and what does he think? Oh, well, then I see, yeah, then that's similar, then maybe I do kind of to blend in here. But then for intellectual stuff, did you understand quantum computing? No. Do you understand how your central heating works? A little bit. So it's this 90%. And that was it. Oh, one thing. Now, I analyze all that, and for me, and okay, the conclusional sentence is, in general, brain are not aware of this mechanism. Yeah, our brain does not know what is going on, whether we think externally, it does not. Also here, it's a biased communication. In general, the journalist, the person that does that, does not notice. He is not aware. He's not aware. And now this also, and I write that in red, this applies to me as well. This applies to me as well. Yeah? So I'm fully aware. Now, what are my countermeasures? And my countermeasures are tough videos. That's it. Tough video. A tough video means I have to say, okay, I think a specific thing, a specific topic, I do understand. And then what I say is, okay, I pull a part of this into in general, my intellect. As I said here. So I pull that into my intellect, and then I explain it to a friend, an imaginary friend, my voice and my drawing, and I try to show it to him. And then I look at it, does that make sense? Does that make sense, what I explained to him? And this is, for me, the tough video allows me to think through things. And don't believe that this here was easy to develop. This is maybe hard 2-hour work. This was a preparation, so I prepared this. And this is not that I started like this. I didn't start in this flow. This came out, and then I developed it. So the thing is, I did not understand why a journalist writes an article in a specific way. I had a 16-page article, I read through it, and I thought, what is that? Why does he use this wrong word? That's wrong. So here, and then why does he say, oh, now these idiots are so and so and they are stupid? And I looked at it, I said, no, that's not true. He is, what does he do? And so I developed this, and then I came to this conclusion. And now I don't think that this is the final cut, because I hope that there will never be a final cut, because everything flows. Yeah, there will be maybe an asymptotical approach to, so that things kind of make, after some time, make kind of sense, and reach this 99% level where we'd say, well, yes, there's a little, area for discussion, where we could still argue about. But that is what I'd like to do. And maybe, this topic here is wrong. Is maybe this is too hard, or this is too weak, and so on. But I think with that, I approached the topic to kind of a greater than 90% level, arguably. And then, over time, I will increase that. And the good thing is that there are hundreds and thousands of such topics here. And the interesting thing is, okay, this took me, let's say, 2 hours. So in 2 hours, I created a little system. I've now put it in my brain. And I think I have this now in my brain. So if I now read an article, I can, because I thought this already, I can tear this out and say, oh, here's you using this and this tactics and this tactics. Oh yeah, that's one of the things. And it's not me inventing this. There was Machiavelli, and this, independent of the facts is Machiavelli rule 2, which is use lies. Use lies. It's the use of lies is perfect. And then there's one thing, complexity. Here we have complexity. Complexity is equal to confusion. Yeah? And that is, in Machiavelli's rule, would be Machi rule 3. And Machi rule 3 is the masses will be easily blinded. You can fool them. And this is because most of the stuff is external thinking, and so you can easily fool them, because they don't have the time and whatever, So it's not me inventing this. There's many more people, more brighter and more expert people that actually have a similar thing. But what I want to do all the time is to create a link between, like, reading 500 books of Machiavelli and then another 1,000 books of Peterson and so on. I want to put it down in 20 minutes or so. I think reading, Machiavelli would take maybe 10 hours. Here, this takes half an hour, and then you think about it and say, well, I remember this and I remember that and maybe this. And then if you look at your brain and at your knowledge maybe a year later, and having thought about things for, let's say, 2 hours per day, so investing 700 hours in it, then I think your kind of your experience and your experience will definitely have grown, and I think that's a good thing. Okay, thanks for listening. Bye bye, and see you next time.